The asteroid mining outpost KP27 hung like a forgotten relic in the desolate expanse at the solar system's edge. A speck of human ambition tethered to a barren rock that spun lazily in the eternal dark. Its solar arrays, vast panels of glinting metal, stretched across the asteroid's surface, catching the faint light of a sun so distant it was little more than a bright star, a pinprick of warmth in a universe that offered none. The outpost itself was a squat, utilitarian structure of reinforced titanium and carbon composites, its hull scarred by micrometeorite impacts, its corridors narrow and claustrophobic, lit by harsh fluorescent strips that buzzed faintly, casting sterile light on walls pocked with the wear of 8 months' isolation. For me, Mike Harris, and the crew of 5, Nick Brennan, Charlie Voss, Dr. Elias Klein, and Commander Victor Milan, KP27 was both home and prison, a place where routine anchored us against the void's infinite indifference, where the hum of machinery and the rhythm of maintenance tasks dulled the ache of distance from Earth, from families, from a world that felt like a half-remembered dream. That morning, Nick and I were on an extravehicular activity, EVA, floating in the microgravity outside the outpost, our suits, corporate blue, emblazoned with the company logo, a stark contrast to the asteroid's gray dust and the black void beyond. The solar arrays loomed before us, their panels reflecting the sun's faint glow, their cables snaking across the surface like veins. Each connection pointed a lifeline that powered our air, our heat, our survival. 3 hours into the task, my hands ached from tightening bolts, my fingers clumsy in the suit's thick gloves, the air inside my helmet stale with the tang of recycled oxygen. Almost done with Section 4, I said into my mic, my voice muffled, noting the progress on my wrist display, its screen glowing faintly in the dark. Nick, 20 meters to my left, was a silent silhouette, his suit's lights casting pools of white on the panel he inspected. 8 months on KP27 had taught me his habits, his love for the void's vastness, his tendency to pause and gaze at the starfield, as if the universe whispered secrets only he could hear. "Nick, how's it going on your end?" I prompted, expecting his usual delay, a quirk I'd grown fond of, a reminder of his humanity in this mechanical world. Silence answered, longer than usual, the comms crackling faintly, a static that seemed to carry a weight I couldn't name. "Nick," I said again, sharper, my breath fogging the visor slightly, the suit's temperature controls struggling against the cold that seeped through the void. "Mike," he finally responded, his voice flat, stripped of its usual warmth, a monotone that sent a prickle down my spine. "Look over there." I pushed off the panel, my movements slow in the microgravity, turning to face his direction, my tether taut against my waist, a thin umbilical to the outpost. Nick's arm was extended, pointing into the darkness beyond the asteroid, where the starfield glittered like shattered glass. "What am I looking at?" I asked, scanning the void, my visor's glare shield adjusting to cut through the faint reflections. "That green thing," he said, his voice now tinged with a strange quality. Fear, awe, or something deeper, something I couldn't place. I squinted, adjusting my visor's polarization, the stars sharpening into focus, a nebulous cloudy glow faintly visible in the distance. Then I saw it, a faint green streak, barely discernible against the black, like a smudge of phosphorescent algae in an ocean of night. "Probably a comet?" I said, turning back to the array, my voice steadier than I felt, the explanation a reflex to ground myself against the unease that stirred in my gut. "Or space junk reflecting sunlight. Weird. We've got 2 more sections to finish." Nick cut in, his tone insistent. "It's moving." I looked again, the green speck larger now, its edges pulsing faintly, a rhythm that didn't match the steady drift of celestial debris or the predictable arc of a comet. It was deliberate, almost alive, its glow unnatural, a violation of the void's cold logic. "Weird optical effect," I suggested, forcing certainty into my words, though doubt gnawed at me. "Cosmic ray hitting your visor. Let's wrap this up." The comms buzzed with static, a harsh roar that made me wince, followed by Dr. Klein's voice, urgent and uncharacteristically sharp. "Harris, Brennan, return to the base immediately." The use of our last names jolted me, Klein's formality usually softened by familiarity. But this was a command, edged with a tension I'd never heard. "We're not quite finished with the maintenance cycle," I replied, glancing at the green light again, its pulse stronger, its size undeniably larger. "Now, Harris," Klein snapped, his voice brooking no argument. "Something's appeared on our long-range sensors. We need everyone inside until we can identify it." A chill ran through me. The suit's temperature controls useless against the dread that coiled in my chest. The green light pulsed, its rhythm almost deliberate, a heartbeat in the void. "Copy that. We're packing up," I said, turning to Nick, expecting him to be gathering his tools, his movements practiced and efficient. Instead, he floated motionless, his suit's lights fixed on the green light, his posture rigid, as if drawn by an invisible thread. "Nick," you heard Klein. "Time to go in." His breathing came through the comms, quick and shallow, a panicked rhythm that set my nerves on edge. "Nick," I said, pushing off toward him, my movements fluid in the low gravity, covering the distance with ease. "Snap out of it. We need to go." I grabbed his shoulder, turning him toward me, and froze. Through his visor, his face was a mask of terror and awe. His eyes wide, pupils dilated to black pools, staring unblinking at the green light. "It's calling me," he whispered, his voice a hollow echo, as if spoken by someone else, someone not entirely Nick. "What?" I tightened my grip on his arm, the suit's fabric unyielding under my gloves, my heart pounding against the suit's chest plate. "Nothing's calling you. It's just a weird space phenomenon. Klein wants us inside." Nick shook his head, slow and deliberate, his eyes never leaving the light, which now spread like a misty cloud, its streaks slicing across the starfield, their glow intensifying, a sickly green that seemed to hum in the silence of space. "You don't hear it?" he said, his voice dreamlike, detached, as if he spoke from a place I couldn't reach. "There's nothing to hear, Nick. Space doesn't work that way," I said, tugging at him, my boots magnetized to the erased surface, anchoring me against his resistance. "Let's go. We need to secure these tools and get inside." For a moment, he seemed to comply, nodding faintly, his hands moving to his tool belt, and I turned to gather my own equipment, relief washing over me, the moment's strangeness fading like a bad dream. Then a sharp snap, the release catch of a tether, jerked me back. Nick had unclipped his safety line, his suit floating free, his face blank, that faraway look returning. His eyes locked on the green light. "What are you doing?" I lunged, my movements clumsy in the sudden panic, my gloved fingers grazing his boot, the microgravity making every action a battle against inertia. "Nick, reattach right now." He didn't respond, his face a void of emotion, and with a hard push, he propelled himself backward, shooting into open space, directly toward the pulsing green cloud. "Nick!" I scrambled after him, my fingers brushing his suit, but he pushed too hard, the gap widening as he floated away, his suit's lights dwindling against the void. "Klein, emergency!" Nick's detached and heading off structure. I launched myself after him, my tether straining, my thrusters firing in short bursts, but his momentum was too great. "Nick, fire your maneuvering pack. Use your emergency return protocol." His thrusters remained dark, his suit a silent speck against the green light, which flared brighter, its pulses faster, as if responding to his approach. "I'm going after him," I said, reaching for my own tether release, my fingers trembling, the void's vastness a weight pressing against my chest. "Negative, Harris," Commander Mland's voice cut through, calm but unyielding, a tether of authority in the chaos. "Do not detach. We're sending Charlie out with the retrieval kit." I floated at the limit of my tether, the line taut, my body trembling with adrenaline. My eyes fixed on Nick, now a distant figure. His suit bathed in the green light's glow, its intensity almost blinding. "Nick, please," I pleaded, my voice breaking. "Use your thrusters. Come back." For a fleeting moment, I thought I saw him turn, his helmet tilting toward the outpost, toward me. Then the green light erupted, a blinding flare that seared my vision, forcing me to look away. When my eyes adjusted, the light had receded to a distant point, its pulses faint again, and Nick was gone. Not drifting, not floating, but gone, as if the void had swallowed him whole, leaving no trace. I hung suspended, shock numbing my limbs, the void's silence deafening, my breath loud in my helmet, a ragged counterpoint to the static in my comms. The airlock hissed behind me, and Charlie emerged, their EVA suit glinting, propelling toward me with the rescue gear, their movements precise despite the urgency. They stopped beside me, their visor reflecting the starfield, their voice tight with concern. Where is he? I could only point to the green dot, now a faint smudge against the black. He was there. Then the light got brighter, and he... My voice faltered, the words inadequate, the reality too vast, too wrong. Charlie stayed beside me, their hand touching my shoulder, a gesture I barely felt through the suit, but it grounded me, a lifeline in the void's indifference. We have to go back in, Charlie said finally, their voice steady but strained, echoing Lan's orders. I nodded, numb, my eyes darting to the green light, hoping for Nick's suit lights, a signal, anything. There was nothing but the stars and that distant glow, a silent accusation in the dark. We cycled through the airlock, the hiss of pressurization a stark contrast to the void's silence, and removed our helmets, the outpost's air cold and metallic, its familiarity jarring after what I'd witnessed. Charlie's face mirrored my shock, their eyes flicking to the viewport, as if Nick might reappear, a ghost against the stars. What happened out there, Mike? They asked, their voice barely above a whisper. I shook my head, the words trapped in my throat, the image of Nick's blank face, his whispered words. It's calling me. A splinter in my mind. How do you describe a friend vanishing into nothing, drawn by a light that shouldn't exist? As we shed our suits, the outpost's hum felt wrong, too normal, a mockery of the void's hunger. The emergency debrief began the moment we stepped through the inner airlock, Lan waiting, his face carved with lines deeper than his 52 years, his calm betrayed by the tension in his shoulders. What happened out there? He asked, his voice steady but edged with unease. Charlie took the lead, their voice measured, recounting Nick's behavior, his tether release, his disappearance. I found my voice, the words spilling out, raw and unfiltered. He didn't drift away, sir. He was there 1 second, then the green light flared and he was gone. Completely gone. Lan studied me, searching for confusion, for lies, but found only the truth, raw and unyielding. He turned toward the corridor to the command center, his steps heavy, as if the outpost's gravity had doubled. Follow me, both of you. The command center was the heart of KP27, a cramped room of consoles and screens, its walls lined with star charts and system diagnostics, its air heavy with the scent of ozone and warm electronics. Dr. Klein paced before the main console, his gaunt frame taut with nervous energy, his fingers twitching as if tracing invisible patterns. The floor screens displayed the asteroid's position, a lonely in a sea of black, the green light a faint anomaly on the edge of the sensor range. Tell me exactly what you saw, Klein demanded, his eyes locking onto mine, his skepticism a tangible weight. I recounted every detail. Nick's pointing, the green light's pulse, his whispered words, his sudden detachment, the blinding flare, his absence. Klein's expression shifted, skepticism giving way to a grim confirmation, as if my words slotted into a puzzle he'd been assembling in secret. And you're certain he said it was calling him? He asked, his voice measured, probing. Those were his exact words, I said, Charlie nodding in agreement. Lan turned to Klein, his tone sharp. You know something, Klein? Time to share it with the rest of us. Klein stopped pacing, his fingers working restlessly, his eyes darting to the main screen. The signals and the light are connected, he admitted, his voice low, as if confessing a sin. We intercepted unusual radio transmissions 3 days ago. Lan's voice rose, a rare crack in his composure. 3 days? And you didn't think to mention this. Klein moved to his workstation, pulling up a waveform, its peaks and troughs jagged, unnatural. I wanted to verify my findings before causing alarm. These aren't normal radio waves. They don't match any known human or stellar patterns. I stepped closer, the waveform's complexity dizzying, its structure almost organic, like a heartbeat captured in code. What are they, then? Klein's words were careful, each one a step into uncharted territory. I believe the light is emitting an unknown form of radiation that affects our minds. The signals contain patterns designed to interface with neural pathways. Charlie's voice cracked, their usual steadiness fraying. You're saying it's messing with our heads? Klein adjusted the display, showing a comparison to human brain waves, the similarities chilling, the patterns aligning with eerie precision. It could explain Nick's behavior, why he thought something was calling him. Mlan sat in the command chair, his face a mask of resolve. So what are we dealing with, Doctor? A weapon? A trap? Klein hesitated, his fingers hovering over the console. I don't know, but it seems to influence human perception, possibly cognition itself. The room fell silent, the weight of his words settling over us. Nick's absence no longer a freak accident, but a deliberate act, a pull from something that knew his mind, his desires, his fears. What are our options? Mlan asked, his voice steady, pulling us back to action. Klein's response was measured, each word a lifeline. We could call for immediate evacuation. The supply ship isn't due for 3 weeks, but we have the emergency shuttle. My voice cut through, sharp with defiance. And what about Nick? We're not just leaving him out there, are we? Mlan's eyes softened, a flicker of sympathy in his steely gaze. Harris, we don't even know if Nick is still. He's alive, I interrupted, the certainty surprising me. A conviction born of instinct, not evidence. Whatever that thing is, it took him somewhere. It didn't kill him. Mlan rubbed his face, uncertainty cracking his commander's facade. We'll wait 24 hours before calling for evacuation. Monitor that light, analyze the signals, run continuous scans for Nick's suit beacon. If there's any chance he's out there, we need to know. Klein nodded, already diving into his data, while Mlan turned to me. That's an order, Harris. 6 hours rest minimum. Charlie and Klein will handle monitoring. We need to stay sharp. Exhaustion clawed at me, the adrenaline's retreat leaving a hollow ache, and I nodded, retreating to my quarters. The outposts hum a distant echo, its normalcy a lie against the void's hunger. My quarters were a 10 by 10 cell, its walls bare save for a photo of Earth's horizon taped above the desk. Its blue curve a reminder of a world I hadn't seen in months. The bed was unmade, a half-empty coffee mug sat on the desk, and Nick's chess set stood mid-game. A knight poised to strike, a relic of our last match 2 nights ago. The normalcy felt wrong, as if the outpost should reflect the fracture in our reality, the void's intrusion into our lives. I collapsed onto the bed, too tired to undress, the mattress sagging under my weight, its springs creaking faintly, a sound swallowed by the outpost's hum. Sleep came reluctantly, my mind replaying Nick's face, his whispered words, the green light's flare. When it claimed me, it was no gentle drift but a plunge into a dream too vivid, too coherent to be mere imagination. Nick floated in empty space, his back to me, his suit untethered, the stars a cold backdrop. I called his name, my voice echoing in the void, but he didn't turn. As I drew closer, the green light enveloped him, seeping through his suit, under his skin, a glow that pulsed with his heartbeat. When he turned, his face was gone, a smooth, blank surface reflecting the green. His features melted into nothing. The light expanded, morphing into a massive maw, its edges lined with crystalline teeth, countless eyes blinking in unison, each one a mirror to my fear. A voice that wasn't a voice filled my mind, vast and ancient. You're next. I woke gasping, sheets soaked with sweat. The dream's weight a physical presence, its images too sharp, too deliberate. The clock showed 5 hours of sleep, close enough to Mlan's order, and I swung my legs off the bed, my hands trembling as I rubbed my face, trying to shake the dream's grip. Something pulled me to the desk terminal, my fingers moving on instinct, accessing the exterior camera feeds. I cycled through views until I found the starfield where Nick had vanished. The green light was there, no longer a speck but a defined mass, its edges pulsing with a deliberate rhythm, closer than before, its glow a challenge to my sanity. As I stared, it pulsed once, perfectly in sync with my heartbeat, as if it knew I was watching, its presence a violation that reached through the screen. The next morning, a beeping alert on my tablet snapped me from my daze, the automated check-in reminder flashing, its tone insistent. Charlie hadn't logged their status, a breach of their meticulous routine, a red flag after Nick's loss. I tapped the comms, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. "Charlie, do you copy?" Static answered, a low hum that seemed to carry a faint rhythm, like the green light's pulse. I checked the life signs monitor, standard for mining operations, each crew member's ID badge a tracker in the asteroid's tunnels. Charlie's vitals were active, but their location pinged outside the base, near the eastern sector, a place with no scheduled tasks, a violation of Milan's order to stay inside. I tried again, my voice sharper. "Charlie, your check-in's overdue. Respond." More static, the silence heavier now, and I grabbed my tablet, cycling through external camera feeds. The eastern sector's view was grainy, but Charlie's maintenance rover was parked near the airlock, its lights off, its hull untouched. No sign of Charlie. I sprinted to the command center, my boots echoing in the corridors. The outpost's hum now a discordant whine, its lights flickering faintly, as if the base itself sensed the threat. Milan and Klein were there, poring over system reports, their faces taut with focus. "Sir, we have a situation," I said, my voice steady but urgent. "Charlie missed check-in. Their tracker shows them outside, near the eastern perimeter." Milan's head snapped up, his jaw tightening. "Outside?" I gave explicit orders. I nodded, pulling up the data. "They're not responding to comms, but their vitals are stable. The rover's by the airlock. No movement for 40 minutes. Milan exchanged a glance with Klein, his eyes narrowing. "We need to bring them in," he said, moving to the equipment locker. "Harris, suit up. You're with me." Klein stepped forward, his voice hesitant. "Commander, after Brennan, is it wise to? We're not losing another crew member." Milan cut him off, his tone final. "We go out, get Charlie, come back. Klein, monitor from here, keep comms open." 10 minutes later, we were in EVA suits, cycling through the eastern airlock, the void's blackness a weight that pressed against my visor. The asteroid's surface was a barren expanse of dust and rock, the solar arrays glinting faintly, the green light somewhere out there, its presence a silent threat. "Stay focused, Harris," Milan said, noting my hesitation, his voice calm but firm. "Eyes on me or the ground. Don't look for that light." We reached the rover, its hull cold and still, its logs showing Charlie had driven it 3 hours ago, then powered it down manually. Milan pointed to the ground, where boot prints led away, single file, evenly spaced, deliberate, not the marks of panic or struggle. We followed the trail, our boots adding new prints, the reflective markers guiding us. 50 meters past the last marker, Charlie stood, their back to us, untethered, staring into the void, their posture rigid, head tilted upward. "Charlie?" I called, my voice tight. "What are you doing out here?" No response. We approached cautiously, Milan's voice steady but urgent. "Charlie, this is Commander Milan. Acknowledge." Charlie turned slowly, their visor revealing wide, unfocused eyes, their expression a mirror of Nick's, distant and dreamlike. "My brother is calling me," they said, their voice soft, almost reverent. Milan and I exchanged glances, dread coiling in my chest. Charlie had no brother, their file listing only a cousin on Mars, a fact they'd shared over late-night coffee. "Charlie, you don't have a brother," I said, inching closer, my hand outstretched. "Let's head back." They shook their head, a small smile curving their lips. "He's waiting for me out there. Can't you hear the singing?" I grabbed their arm, but they yanked free with startling strength, nearly toppling me in the low gravity. "Don't you hear it?" they asked, their voice rising. Their eyes locked on the green light, now a massive, pulsing mass, its streaks slicing across the stars. Charlie's hands moved to their helmet, and I lunged, shouting, "Charlie, no!" But they were too fast, popping the lock, the helmet lifting, air rushing out in a cloud of freezing mist. Their eyes bulged, their face twisting in pain, but only for a moment. Before the vacuum could claim them, they kicked off the surface, propelling toward the green light, their body a silhouette against its glow. Lan grabbed my arm, his voice sharp. "Harris, stand down. There's nothing we can do." The light extended a tendril, wrapping Charlie in a cocoon of green, a flare blinding us. When it faded, Charlie was gone, vanished like Nick, the void empty, the light pulsing as if satisfied. We returned in silence, our footprints a grim trail, the rover abandoned, the airlocks cycle agonizingly slow. Inside, Lan's face was pale, his calm shattered, fear etched in his eyes. "We need to contact Mission Control," he said, his voice hollow. "Whatever that thing is, it's picking us off one by one." Klein waited in the command center, his expression collapsing at the sight of us. "Charlie?" he asked, his voice barely audible. Lan shook his head. "Gone. Same as Nick." Klein sank into a chair, his tablet trembling in his hands. "It's happening faster than I thought. The energy readings are off the charts." I moved to the main viewport, the green light now a dominant presence, its pulses a heartbeat in the void, its glow a silent watch over our outpost. "2 crew members in 24 hours, Lan said, his voice heavy. "It's targeting us specifically." Klein nodded, pulling up data, his clinical tone fraying. "There's intelligence behind it. The radiation patterns are too complex to be random. It's creating personalized lures, accessing memories, desires." Lan straightened, his commander's resolve returning. "We're evacuating now. Klein, transfer your research to portable drives. Harris, prep the emergency shuttle. I want us ready in 12 hours. I nodded, the order a lifeline, but a sharp pain lanced through my head, brief but blinding, leaving an echo of a voice just beyond hearing. "You okay?" Lan asked, his eyes narrowing. "Just a headache?" I said, rubbing my temple, the pain fading. But the unease lingered, a whisper of the green light's reach. In the research lab, Klein revealed the truth he'd withheld, his voice trembling as he displayed waveforms. Their patterns alien, deliberate. They're not messages, they're warnings. From another species, likely the last survivors of a star system consumed by this entity. He called it the Green Maw, a name that felt too small for its vastness, its hunger. It's not radiation, it's intelligent hunting, using our minds against us, exploiting memories, fears. The patterns matched human brain waves, a direct interface, explaining Nick's curiosity, Charlie's non-existent brother, the lures tailored to each mind. Lan's anger was quiet, deadly. "You knew, and you kept it to yourself while 2 of my crew were taken." Klein's shoulders hunched, his voice defensive. "I wasn't sure until Charlie. The patterns were too complex." The base shuddered, lights flickering, systems failing in a cascade. The Green Maw's influence extending to our technology, a predator trapping its prey. The green light filled the viewport, its pulses a rhythm that seemed to sync with my heartbeat, its presence a weight that pressed against my mind. Lan cut our timeline to 6 hours, urgency driving us. I secured sections, overriding failing systems, the base groaning as it collapsed under the Maw's pressure. Klein's data transfer crawled, the entity interfering, his drives a lifeline to warn Earth. In the command center, Lan's behavior shifted, his voice distant, dreamy, drawn by a vision of his daughter Emily, dead 3 years, her image a lure crafted by the Maw. He moved to the airlock, his eyes glowing green, his strength unnatural, shoving me aside, his resolve unbreakable. "She needs me," he said, stepping into the airlock without a suit. The outer door opening, the void claiming him as a tendril of light wrapped him, his smile peaceful as he vanished. Alarms blared, life support failing, the base buckling. Klein and I ran, the corridors dark, frost coating the walls, the shuttle bay our last hope. The shuttle waited, its systems primed, and I overrode the bay doors, the green light filling the sky, the base collapsing behind us. We launched, the shuttle shuddering, the asteroid outpost imploding, the Maw's light crushing it into debris. In open space, the entity followed, its energy trailing us, a predator adapting, learning. Klein's data suggested it fed on consciousness, fear enhancing its prey, its lures refined across millennia, across galaxies. A vision struck me, the Maw's true form, vast, ancient, a multidimensional horror. Its eyes countless, its hunger eternal. It let me see, a final taunt, its pursuit relentless. Klein and I plotted a course for Earth, months away, the green light a distant dot, but the sensors told the truth. It followed, patient, inevitable. Our crew was gone, our base destroyed, and we carried a warning that might doom humanity if sent, the Maw's reach extending to our networks. What would you do? Alone in a shuttle, a predator's gaze on your mind, its whispers echoing in your pain, knowing each message risks leading it to your home. Could you resist its call? Or would you drift toward its light, drawn by a lure crafted from your deepest desires?